Anyway, a lot of people bought fish finders. Attempt to mess at all with the wires up at the bow. You want to remove this fuse. Undoubtedly, people will pop this fuse, and that's the last thing you want to do. So we're removing it. There she is. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the fuse in the handy dandy connector holder and just leave it right here on the ground. Now, look at that mess. That's the way it came from the factory for the most part. Some of this wire is for my spotlight. Anyway, it's a mess. And then this USB guy right here, I have a bunch of LED lights under my extended casting deck, and I just plug into the USB port up top here. Boom, just like so. At any rate, we're gonna bail from under here. Hi. I really believe that, you know, the first thing you want to do when you're messing with out of the boat. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is remove your fish finder from wherever it's at, the mount, unplug it, etc. before you start taking this panel off. You don't need a whole lot to do this. Depending on if you got zip ties going on or anything. Hey, Steven, how you doing, bud? Maybe some snips, some needle nose. Square drive is very key here. A lot of people are like, what do I use to take those off? Square drive. All right, so. Hold on, guys, sorry. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this in a mount, and we're just gonna talk about it while I do it. All right. So there we go. We have one comment from Stephen Wolf. I've already taken the screws off the gimbal mount. It was kind of an afterthought. I decided, you know what? Let's just talk about this. So I literally had one screw holding the gimbal in here. At any rate, like I said, isolate your power, get rid of it. Here's your unit. This guy's for sale, by the way, if you guys are interested. But, you know, a clean workspace is a happy workspace. So the key here, just get everything out of the way and start removing all of these square drive galvanized screws. And I forget exactly how many are in here. There's about a dozen. We'll figure it out here in a minute. I've already taken 4 out. Now, I'm excited about this new fish finder, you guys. I know everybody that scored on this deal is in the same boat. They're just pumped to get this thing in here. So in my case, I too have to remove some stuff. So, you know, like I said, you just got to get stuff out of the way, and it makes life a whole lot easier. You don't have to fight it. Some of these screws, the carpet kind of conceals it a little bit. You just have to run your thumb across it and find it. Okay. We got another guy over here. Yeah, right here. This thing hasn't been off in quite a while. I think I'm missing a couple. All right, we're coming around the other side. I feel like I'm missing one. It's not wanting to just... Okay, we're good. We're good. All right, so we have exposure. So what I'm gonna do is pull the power wire for the Humminbird out and over the front of the boat. I want to get it out of the way while I isolate the connections, and they are right here. A lot of people, you guys, that corrugated tubing that goes around the little, I don't even know what those are, maybe 16 gauge wire right here. They sometimes on these model boats, they're tucked down in that hole where the power for the trolling motor comes out. So it's not that big of a deal. You might have to get in there with a coat hanger if it falls down in there and just fish it out. Just use a light. It's not a big deal. But I mean, this is about as simple as it gets. I've already taken the fuse out under the dash, so I'm not going to do any damage to anything, and that's that. You got your power wire. That's all. That's the end of that program. Now, for those of us that have the transducer built into the trolling motor, you know, most of us that use that sonar setup that it has had to buy this adapter. This is for a Humminbird. They make them for all models, but we're going to step the game up quite a bit, and we're going to put a real transducer on that motor, and we're going to achieve all the down imaging, all the side imaging with that guy. So the Humminbird 7-inch is getting replaced with a Garmin 93 UHD SV. So my other power situation here is my puck for the trolling motor. I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to end up making this up again with shrink fitted waterproof fittings, but for now that's all I need to do. And honestly, you guys, we're ready for install. So it really is that simple to take this cover off the front of the boat and, you know, prepare yourself for an installation of any kind. So anyway, remember, fuse under the dash, that's first. Then you start taking everything apart. Don't lose your screws. I mean, you can find galvanized screws anywhere. It's not that big of a deal if you lose one. They're not type specific. But you know, what you don't want to have happen is when you go, you want to really manage your wire, because you are going to screw this back down. So you want to make sure that you don't penetrate any of those wires when you're putting it back together. So keep everything nice and neat. And yeah, that'll help immensely when this is done. But tomorrow we're going to install this, and it's going to be a chore because of the way the transducer is going to work on the Terrova due to its self-lifting assist system. So anyway, I just want to go live for a few minutes, say hi to everybody. If anybody is interested, we do have the hats. We have, basically we're going to call this the Heritage. Boom. We got the gray and safety green. I'm a big fan of that color. And we have the orange and gray. So if anybody wants one of those, just reach out to me and let me know. I'll let you know how to get one. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Oh wait, there's comments, you guys. I gotta read these before I go. I read every one of them. All right, Steven, that is hilarious. I did throw a softball there. I have figured out how I'm going to do the transducer. It's a lot of people have done something similar, but I'm going to try it this way. I have some carabiners I picked up, and a looped bike lock. Obviously, I'm not going to use the lock. You'll see what this is for when. And I'm going to actually not do this live because I want the quality to be better. Kind of, I'm watching myself right now on an iPad and it looks like crap, so I'm sorry about that. No, I don't have a switch that kills the power to the batteries. And why? I've never had an issue. These batteries I've had for almost it'll be 3 years in February. I've had this boat. They're the original batteries. I maintain them constantly when it's not in the water. It's plugged in. An additional 9-inch fish finder is going to draw a little more current for sure. And I'll adjust if I have to. I'm thinking next spring I am going to go to a 12 volt in series and do 2 batteries. For the trolling motor, just for that extra. But having that's like having an extra topping on your cake to have a kill switch, for this boat. I don't think it's necessary. The fuse under the dash to turn this off is very simple to get to as long as you know where it's at. And it will not be fused under this panel. It kind of goes without saying that if you fuse it under this panel, you have to take that panel off to change the fuse if something does happen. So that kind of creates its own little issue. So at any rate, Steven, have a drink. But that's that. I mean, it's pretty simple to take that off. And I will have this trolling motor, or excuse me, I will have, God, this thing is gorgeous too. I can't stop looking at it. You know what though? I do have an issue. And I'm curious if anybody's had one of these units for a while. Got fingerprints on it now. I'm kind of wondering about this connection. It's got the female end is on the gimbal itself. And then the male pins are on the fish finder body itself. And the way that it plugs in, I just wonder what kind of pounding it can take. Like going down a lake. I wonder. It doesn't seem as stuck to the gimbal as other fish finders I've had in the past. So, I mean, it's there you go. It feels pretty secure. I haven't tightened down the knobs yet, but all right. Yeah, I mean, that ain't going anywhere. Oh, shit. Maybe it will. So that's something to think about, guys. I just whacked myself in the beak. But that's the one thing that concerns me about this model is that cradle that it sits in. We'll find out. But I am going to do some sort of a ram ball mount. I don't know. I think I'm going to cheap out and buy the Scotty one. I want to say it's like 39 bucks at Bass Pro Shops. But it's plenty for this. And we'll see how it goes. Oh, right on, Todd. How do you like the 7-inch, by the way? I'm still here, you guys. I'm just trying to get the parts out of the box. Really wanted to look at this transducer real quick. Oh yeah, just a little guy compared to the 3-in-1 on the Elites. The down scan, foot long. This one's maybe 5 inches. But now the trick is to get it on that trolling motor, and I'm going to show you guys that tomorrow. But if my idea doesn't work, I'll try a different one. I'm not real set on my idea. God, I have a cold, you guys. Something's going on. I saw on several people's pages and whatnot, and it seemed to work pretty well for them. So I'm gonna try it. If it doesn't work, what gauge wire to use for a fish finder? It tiny, 18 gauge. I mean, here, let me show you what's going on here with this was the Humminbird wires. Anybody that tells you you need bigger wire for a fish finder is selling you a bag of goods. You're running very little power, and it's basically a signal. So, tiny ballpark. Could be 16, I don't know, but it's not very big. Why not a Panther mount? Well, originally I wanted to design my own, and it just kind of never materialized. The problem I have with the Panther itself is where I want to put it, it's not quite tall enough. So I'm probably gonna, like I said, do the ram ball mount just off center to the right of plug for the power for the trolling motor. I might change my mind. We'll see. They have those mounts at Bass Pro Shops, the Panther ones. I might take a look at them. I know I need about 4.5 inches to 5 inches. Where do you get that insulated wire? The insulated wire comes on the power cable itself. This comes with your fish finder. It's insulated. The wire that comes up through your boat, in my boat, it came with a corrugated thing that the wire fits in. Let me turn this around so you guys can see that. So the factory wire has a pretty good size shielding on it. Trying to see if I can get back in here. But that's what it should look like. And these are heat shrunk connectors. Two feet of wire. That's not very much. But honestly, it's enough. You don't have 2 feet when you're I mean, you're literally, if you mount one of these right over the top of the plug for your trolling motor, I wouldn't be worried about that. It will be a problem if you want to move it somewhere far away. You want to pick one side of the boat or the other, it will probably be an issue. So I would just match the gauge wire that is coming out of your boat, crimp it really well, tape it up, or use heat shrink, and you'll be golden. You don't need a whole bunch though. Like a lot of these fish finders that I've had, I ended up cutting off about half of this just so I didn't have all of this extra. Now this Humminbird, I didn't want to do that to because I did want to pass it along to somebody else. So I wanted to give them options. So that's why I literally cut off a 1/2 inch at install just to shorten this, because you don't need a bunch of extra length. Yeah, I'm gonna do this tomorrow night, or tomorrow there will be a video. Probably come out Saturday, if not tomorrow night, of the actual install of this Garmin, and we'll go from there. But I'm just hoping that my idea for the transducer cable works. I don't want it a whole bunch of times, but I think we can tweak it a little bit and it'll work just fine. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy and have a good night.